About one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. How are we doing here on a Tuesday? Hope everybody is well. Jam-packed show today. Got a poll question that's up as well regarding Major League Baseball. Again, always follow us, whether it be at WI Sports Radio, on YouTube, on X, whatever the case may be. We are there. Facebook, Instagram. Plus, you want to be there because Tommy Wirtz has done a great job, and Tim Allen of posting stuff to social media from spring training. It's been really, really well done with some funny videos that are being posted, talking about what's coming up from spring training. And you'll hear more from those guys. Coming up on today's show, an announcement of another show coming up here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. This show will be on Saturdays, and we'll be announcing that coming up at 3 o'clock with the new host of that show. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up at 3. We'll talk about the crew like we always do at 3:20 with our guy, the franchise, Tim Allen. He is down there taking in the Brewers and Great Britain game that's about to get underway there. Jacob Mizorowski on the mounts. We'll check in with him at 3:20. Craig Yoho, Brewers reliever, had a chance to talk with Tim and Tommy. We'll play that back for you coming up at 4:20. So if you're a Brewers fan, I'm telling you right now, the rest of the week, you will have plenty of Brewers coverage, including things Sparky missed. We have 2 Brewers topics there, too, coming up at 4:40, brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals. Yesterday, we started with Giannis. Unfortunately, today, we're going to have to do it again. Yesterday, I was getting poked at because we did a topic in the 4 o'clock hour about Doc Rivers, potentially. If you fire Doc Rivers, how much better is this team really going to be? Who was it that came after me?
Who do you think it was that came after you?
Who was it?
It was Q.
Q.
Of course.
Yeah. And Q was mad that I was doing the topic. He's like, man, timing is horrible. Like, we're excited. Giannis is coming back, blah, blah, blah. I was like, hey, we don't know if he's on a minutes restriction necessarily. We don't know how he's going to look. They're playing the Celtics without Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Should they win? I'm never going to say they should beat anybody at this point. But, yeah. They should win a game without Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and the Celtics. Did they? No. Crushed like a grape. Boston just was hitting threes, right? They weren't early, but then they caught fire, and it was over at that point. Then you have Giannis, who was on a minutes restriction, talking after the game, reflecting about being old.
Been in the NBA for 13 years. I've been injured a lot. I've sprained my ankles. I've extended my knee. My back has been hurting me. Sprained my wrist. And I'm able to come back. Like when the doctor tells me 2, 3, 4 weeks, I'm able to cut that time in half and come back. They've told me in the past 4 weeks out, I've come back in 7 days. They've told me 3 weeks out, I've been back in 4 days. So, I thought it'd be the same. And I think that's sometimes not good because it's just like a false reality. Like it's not always going to be that case. And I felt like this year going to be the same thing. Like, okay, yeah, hurt my groin. Had to be out for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Came back in I don't remember, 10 days. But I'm 31 years old. Just got to be able to be more smarter moving forward because things that I was able to do in the past, maybe I'm not able to do now. And I just got to be more methodical with my rehab, the way I take care of my body, the way I play. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Moving forward, I just got to be smarter.
How many times, Charlie, would you say in the last 2 years that we've been doing this show, have I yelled at the Packers training staff, the Packers head coach, guys coming back before they should have come back, and then getting hurt again, and having to be out again. How many times?
I think I could think of at least 5 or 6 different occasions. Yeah.
At least. I felt like I was doing it every week this year.
I mean, just like specific players, 5 or 6 special players that you've done
over and over again. Zach, Tom, all during the season.
Jair Alexander, Brandon
another
McManus
one.
for a little bit. Yeah.
How many times I go out for the Bucks? Not once. Want to know why? Because I didn't think it was a problem. Then you hear Giannis talk, and you realize, yet again, like the Green Bay Packers, that these players say, hey, I'm good. Let me play. These dudes and women, right? It's men and women. You're like, all right, sounds good. Go play. We're not going to stop you. You want to go play? Go play. And as you hear from Giannis say, yeah, that's just not working anymore. I've got to be more careful. I got to take more of my time. Do you realize I got a text this weekend, a video text of Giannis at the WWE match, pay-per-view, whatever they call it nowadays, down in Chicago. He was there with the Nassus and whoever else he was there with, hanging out, right? People were mad. What are people mad about? Who cares? He ain't playing. Nobody ever said he broke his leg or anything like that. Just because you can walk does not mean you can go play an NBA game. And sometimes people get confused. Like, oh, I saw him at the grocery store. Looks fine to me, Sparky. Why the hell isn't he playing? Sparky, I saw him with his kids. He's fine. Should be playing. Why isn't he yet playing? That's just not how this works. Just because he's walking does not mean he can cut and move and everything else and not have another problem immediately upon doing it. Day-to-day life, yeah, you and I may be fine because we ain't playing basketball. We're just walking around our job or whatever else. You aren't going through the rigors of an NBA season with that knee or that calf or whatever the injury is. So he's been getting overly criticized for apparently, he should have been back by now. No, we shouldn't. Main thing, I've been saying they should just shut him down for the rest of the year and called it a day. But he would never let that happen. Because in his mind, if I'm healthy, I'm playing. I respect the competitor in him. I respect it. But as we've discussed, for the good of the team, probably would have been better had he just shut it down and then just go ahead and lose. Now, it may not matter. They still may just lose. The problem is they won too many games in the meantime. So Giannis comes back, reflects afterwards, but I've got to stop coming back so soon. So, okay, fine. So then we move on. I see come across my timeline, Locked On Bucks podcast. And it's Brian Butch, former Badger center, and our guy, Brandon Snyder. You hear him on 9 to Noon with Kuhn, and Rami Makloff produces that show and is on the air frequently. And these two guys, mainly Brian Butch, are all fired up that Giannis was even playing last night to begin with and thought it was a horrible decision. Check out this.
Why is Giannis playing? I don't care who's running. Like the fact that he stepped out on the floor and played 25 minutes in a back-to-back with no practice and none of this when the team comes back-to-back makes no sense whatsoever. Zero. Never. Should not happen. Does not need to happen. I saw it come across. And then I saw Milwaukee media say, this is great. Look at, woohoo, Giannis is back. And I'm thinking, you're dummies. You're dummies for wanting this. This is not a good thing. Not any part of it was good. So number one, he comes back. Maybe you win a couple of more games. It drops you in the lottery. That's okay, whatever. I can understand keeping him happy. But the biggest thing here is why are you having him come back on a back-to-back? When the guys have played and now that to me as a player and as an organization is unacceptable to put your star player his first game back and you do that to him.
So Brian Butch, none too happy that he came back either. The question I have is simple. And Giannis does not have to be a part of this. Giannis does not have to be the answer, because I know there are other things that bothered you about last night's game besides even Giannis playing. What disappointed you the most about last night's game? Was it the fact that he was playing on a minutes restriction and coming back in a back-to-back? Was that what disappointed you the most? What is it for you that really stood out, that really grinded your gears and got you mad at the Milwaukee Bucks? Nikolay Law, talking text line, 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. On the socials at WI Sports Radio. Charlie Usen, one of the things that I saw that really got people mad was the fact that Ryan Rollins no longer out there with the starting unit. Ryan Rollins all of a sudden not getting that same run that Ryan Rollins was getting before. That irritated some people. Other people were mad at the lack of run that Miles Turner had in that basketball game. People were mad about that. Now, I don't know how many people were mad that Kyle Kuzma wasn't playing, but that was a talking point. And Doc, after the game, Doc Rivers was like, hey, coaching decision. That's why Kyle Kuzma wasn't playing. And they played Jang. I would have respected it more had he just said, Jang's going to be our starting small forward the rest of the year. We need Kuzma's offense off the bench. I would have been fine with that. And I don't care if Kuzma would have liked it or not, but Jang is going to learn a hell of a lot more getting ready for next year if you plan on re-signing him as a restricted free agent by getting out there and playing 25, 30 minutes a night, regardless if they win or lose. He has to get run. He was not getting a lot of run in Oklahoma City. We are not Oklahoma City here with the Milwaukee Bucks. That team is not as talented as Oklahoma City, nor are they as good. So while I respect the fact that Giannis wants to win games, and I respect the fact that they want to get into the play-in tournament to try to get into the real playoffs, I respect all of that. But somebody in that organization has to use a brain and decide, hey, some of these young guys, we got to get a look at here and see if we do want to bring them back. Do we want to bring back Cam Thomas? He's going to have to get some run. In what way do we want to play Miles Turner going forward with Giannis? Miles Turner's best games, for the most part, have been with Giannis. And then he don't play. So those are some of the issues that I saw people complaining about last night that really stood out to me. What about you? Nikolay Law, talking text line, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. What say you, Charlie?
I think it's positive that Ousmane Dieng was out there for 30 minutes.
Yes.
I think it was positive that Jericho Sims got 22 minutes still in this game.
Now again, Dieng had 8 in the first quarter led scores. He had 11 in the first half and only finished with 13. So he really didn't help at all, really, in the second half.
Who did?
I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things.
I think it's still, if we're going to start with some kind of positive, it's positive that these two guys that have been able to show out since the trade deadline are still getting that run and not automatically getting relegated to these kind of reserve roles that they were in before. It's nice to still see that. Now, what I find negative about this game is the fact that this team only took 74 total shots, that this team had 16 turnovers. Those two things, when we've watched them, especially since the trade deadline, guys like Kevin Porter Jr. be aggressive with the shot taking, Ryan Rollins, Cam Thomas, Bobby Portis had been more aggressive. And now you're looking at this game, and Miles Turner is only taking 6 shots in this game, and all 6 of them are 3-pointers. You can't have that. You can't just get rid of the interior game that you had going before. Yep. AJ Green only takes 3 shots. Again, all 3 of them 3-pointers. I know that's been his thing all season.
He's not that good. He's just
take more shots.
Like, I don't even. He's just not that good.
If you're losing by 27 points, if you're in a game where you only have taken 74 shots as a team, I'd rather guys just start shucking up the ball just so that they can try to get some confidence back. Maybe one of them can go on a hot streak. It just feels like this is such a deflated game. And it's going back to what we saw before Giannis got hurt, where it's everybody, including Doc Rivers, just says, okay, Giannis, let's go out there and do that. But Giannis, obviously, the way he talked last night, just isn't ready for that at this point. And what I thought I saw post-trade deadline was a team that had confidence, a team that was ready to have somebody take that next step up. And what I saw last night was none of that. I saw a bunch of guys scared to take that spotlight away from Giannis when he was readily giving it to them.
Which is what we said was the fear. What was it, last week, about Giannis coming back? Like, is this really going to go the way we want, or is it going to put him in a negative light because everybody's going to be standing around, hands on hips watching? Giannis took 18 shots. The next closest dude with Jang with 10.
Ryan Rollins had 11 off the bench. That was the next closest.
Oh, Ryan Rollins off the bench. I was looking at the starters. But if you just stay on the starters, like you said, 2 for Green, Porter only takes 6 shots.
Crazy.
31 minutes. He only took 6 shots.
Well, and it's not like he's having one of those games where he's triple-double Kevin Porter Jr. He had 2 assists in this whole game, 3 turnovers.
No.
Like, that was not a good game by any means.
Nope, not good at all. And again, to the bench we go. Bobby Portis took 7 shots, hit 3 threes, and had 12 points, and only took 7 shots. And I know. Oh, Bobby Portis, we don't want Bobby Portis. Whatever. You need scoring. You only scored 80-some points, 81 points. All you scored. If somebody's feeling it, feed the dude. Let's see how much he's feeling it. And you were at home, where Bobby always plays better when he's at home. Bobby. Try and get the momentum going. Try and do something. None of that was happening. And then Ryan Rollins, 2 for 11.
At least he was still shooting. Again,
he was still shooting.
I'm more disappointed that Kevin Porter Jr. only takes 6 shots.
Yep.
I'm more disappointed that Miles Turner is only taking 6 shots and they're all 3-pointers. Yeah, Ryan Rollins missed 9 shots in this game. At least he was still trying. At least he's still going out there trying to keep proving himself in this league. That's what I wanted to see more of these guys. If you're going to lose games like this, I want to at least see some of these guys trying to make names for themselves for the future of this team or their own future.
Do you know what was happening prior to Giannis coming back?
What's that?
We'd have to go back and look at the box scores. Bucks were doing a much better job hanging on the boards. When they were playing well,
100%.
They were either close in a losing, close as far as, okay, we lost rebounds by a couple, or we're winning the rebound battle. Last night, they got out rebounded 54-41, man. 54-41.
Well, but what you saw is Miles Turner not in the paint at all during this game. And not that he's been the greatest rebounder this season at all.
Why isn't he in the paint, Charlie?
Because
he's got to pull out for Giannis
you just don't
to have room to work.
Have to, though.
I'm telling you, but that's how they work it.
There's teams winning games right.
Brooke.
There's teams winning games right now in the NBA that are doing these kind of bigger center style looks. The Houston Rockets at the beginning of the season, before Steven Adams got hurt, they were running that type of offense really well with Alperen Sengun and Steven Adams on opposite corners of the block. That's what you can do with this Bucks team, especially if Giannis is going to draw more attention, where you can pass the ball out like you were doing to Jericho Sims and do all these different things. Just because Giannis is on the court doesn't mean it has to be a completely new offense. You found something that worked, and now you're just changing everything.
Yep, no doubt. Totally agree with you. And that's, again, we go back to Doc Rivers and how this whole thing works. My question would be this. Are you all on the same page? Doc, are you on the same page with your coaching staff? And is the coaching staff on the same page as John Horst? And is John Horst on the same page as Wesley Edens and Jimmy Haslam? Are you all on the same page as to what we're trying to accomplish here? Like, what's the goal? Because if you remember correctly, back in the day, John Horst was dictating terms to Jason Kidd about how he should be running his offense and what they should be doing and what the numbers say. Is he still doing that to Doc? Because Doc's old school too now. He may be more open to the analytics of the game than Jason Kidd was. But is he still up in Doc's grill telling him how to play, who to play, when to play? Is he still up there doing that? Or has John Horst kind of just sat back and said, do what you want. I'm good. I'm not getting involved in this. You do what you want to do, Doc. You coach him how you want, buddy. You want a championship. You know what you're doing. I'd like to know that. Because if ownership has one vision of how they want this to finish, John Horst has another vision, the coaching staff has another vision, and then Doc does whatever the hell Doc wants, well, that's a problem. Because if you're not all focused at the same target of, okay, yeah, we want to win, but it's more important that we get A, B, and C on the floor as much as possible to see if we want to keep them going forward. Is that the plan? Or is the plan, hey, win at all costs, Doc? I don't care who plays, who doesn't play. Just win these damn games. I don't care if you play a 7-man rotation at this point. Just win the damn games, right? Is that the goal? Because if we're being honest, I don't see what the vision is right now for this organization. For the last month to now, what's the vision? What are we trying to accomplish? Because it doesn't seem to be a clear vision at all from anybody. Even as a fan watching this, you're like, I have no idea what we're trying to do right now. None.
It just doesn't make any sense. And I think the front office, maybe Doc Rivers even to some degree, they all have their own visions, like you're saying. And then I think Giannis has his own vision too. And that also kind of has to be taken into account in this whole situation too. And I think sometimes it feels like the rest of the team is trying to guess what Giannis's vision is. And I think Giannis's vision is that he just wants to go out there and be able to play basketball. And what we're doing right now is sending Giannis out into the court while everybody else holds their breath to see what happens and wait for him to make some decision. If Giannis is going to say he's going to take everything day by day and he's going to play basketball and that's just what he wants to do, the organization has to do that for the rest of the season too. There's no other choice. If he's gone in the offseason, he's gone in the offseason, but you missed the trade deadline. He's on this team right now. Play basketball. Stop worrying about and holding your breath for what's happening this offseason. Just go out there and look at what's ahead of you right now. Finish the season. Try to figure out any other way to move past this, just like Giannis is trying to do right now.
He is Charlie Eustace, Sparky Fifer with you, Wisconsin Sports Daily, live on Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Nicolay Law Talk and text line asking you what's the most disappointing thing for you last night. 414-677-1250. From the 414, AJ Green needs to be benched. 18 minutes, 0 points, 0 from the 414. Yeah, I agree. He shouldn't be starting. No. As I said before, and I will continue to state, he's kind of the newest version of Connaughton, right? He maybe not be as athletic as Connaughton or whatever, but he's just as inconsistent and just as streaky of an offensive player as Connaughton was. No difference. They both play hard. They both hustle on defense. They both give effort. Yes, you get all of that with AJ Green, just like you did Pat Connaughton. They're both making the same amount of money. They're both making like $9 million a year, what Connaughton was making back when they gave him that deal, which I hated. And now you're giving AJ Green the same type of money for being the same type of player. Connaughton was not a starter, and AJ Green certainly is not a starter. On nights when he's feeling it and he looks like Larry Bird, by all means, let him close the game. But on every other night, he's not out there at the end of games. Well, no chance.
At least Connaughton attempted to be a versatile scorer at points in his career.
He's
at least
a shooter.
AJ Green literally has only taken 3-point shots this year.
Yep.
He has not done anything inside that arc, and that's what's frustrating.
Mike in Shorewood, you're next here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Mike?
Hey, what's up, Sparky? Yeah, I don't even think the coaching staff, players really know the direction they're going in. I presumed Giannis came back, was clear to go, and he wanted to be in the playoffs. It'd be really embarrassing if they didn't even make the play-in. And at this point, with 24 games left, they pretty much have to go on a hot run because the Hornets right now are rolling. So it's going to take a miraculous run by this Bucks team to even make the play-in. So it's going to be really disappointing with all that. As far as last night goes, just the inept offense. I'm thinking maybe guys are getting tight because they want to run it through Giannis. But Giannis is working himself back, and you're playing against one of the elite teams in the league in Boston.
No. Hold on.
Outside of
there
Deng,
was no Jaylen Brown. There was no Jason Tatum. Let's not act like there was a bunch of rock stars on this team. There's a bunch of role players that are coached very, very well by Mazzulla. That's the difference. A big difference. A part of this is Mazzulla's a hell of a coach.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what Boston does. I mean, they're playing. They don't even their record's elite even without Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So they just find guys. I'm just jealous of the way the Celtics can find these guys you've never heard of. Hugo Gonzalez, Shireman, Hauser.
Yep.
I mean, these guys would be elite on the Bucks, and Bucks really struggling. Outside of Deng, really, the offense was just non-existent, and it's really pathetic that, you know, you're going against a top-tier team. You're thinking Giannis is going to have a lot of factor and help with the offensive flow, and there was exactly nothing. And they just got shut down and locked down. Peyton Pritchard was looking like Giannis on there and just lighting them up. So just pathetic and embarrassing, and hopefully he better turn around.
All right, thanks for the call. I can't stand Peyton Pritchard. We're going to ban that dude's name from our show, too. I don't like that dude. From the 906, Giannis should not lead this offense. Giannis should not play point forward. Giannis should not shoot threes or fadeaways. Giannis should play in the middle, down low with his back to the basket. Let the guards handle the ball and get good ball movement and work it down to Giannis. That's how they could be very good. Giannis would and is dominant down low, and he and they do not use that nearly enough. I will simply say that in general, the NBA does not play down low nearly enough. That's 90s basketball. We're old heads for wanting somebody to play in the post and work against somebody, because that's how Brook Lopez made his living. And then Bud got a hold of him, made him a 3-point shooter, and quit playing him near the basket. And that's how he was making all of his money, right? And once you pull them away from the basket, what happens? Not getting any rebounds because your biggest guy on the floor is the farthest guy away from the rim. That's a problem. And now you have Miles Turner. And guess what we do there? Same damn thing. Pull him way away, and then we'll wonder why you're not rebounding. Well, if you're going to do it that way, then your guards better be really good at getting 5 or 6 boards every night. You better be good at doing it. And Giannis better be doing double digits every night. Not his credit, he does. He's a rebounding machine, so he does his thing. But everybody's has to rebound. Jang, you got to give me 8 rebounds a night. I know you're small forward, but that's how it's going to be if Miles Turner has to play that far away from the basket. And Miles Turner, when he's on the defensive side of the basket, put your butt into somebody, man. Box out. Try it. They teach it at the youth levels. They don't box out anybody. Hardly ever. Guys just running past him, grabbing rebounds. He's standing there with his feet in cement. I should not be getting this upset over a crappy team. I shouldn't be. I wanted them to lose. I wanted them to tank. But damn.
But they made us feel like they were at least competitive.
Yes,
That's the problem.
Sucked in.
They made us feel like they were at least competitive. And now
Yes.
they're just doing the same things they were doing at the beginning of the season.
Completely got sucked into it. Absolutely.
And now they're going to
for it.
go probably win 3 games in the next 2 weeks. And it's going to be awesome again. We're going to be kind of, they're back up.
No, Sparky the sucker. You're absolutely right. Can you feel it? A game-winning, buzzer-beating 3? The thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam? You know the feeling. There's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration. The Potawatomi Sportsbook, baby. Catch all the action in supreme space with dozens of sports betting kiosks, cool drinks, luxury seating, great food, fiery atmosphere, and a monster video wall. 2,000 square feet. Up to 30 sporting events at one time you can watch on that bad boy. Only at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, the Midwest's best. More info now. Reserve your seat ahead of time. A nominal fee, but it goes towards your food and beverage costs, which you're going to spend that money anyhow. More info at Potawatomi.com. Again, that's Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino. Changing gears from the Bucks to the Packers. Couple of guys look like they're going to be out on the block from the lovely land of Minnesota. And I know other shows have already talked about this because we're behind because we keep booting it out of our show lineup. Would you rather have Aaron Jones? Would you rather have Javon Hargrave? Would you want neither? Would you want both? How are you feeling about doing the reverse? Normally, Minnesota takes the Packer guys. Oh, they play for the Packers? We'll sign him. But he was like their 3rd string guy. Yep, we're going to sign him and we're going to start him. He's a Packer. So now we're kind of doing the reverse where we're being the Vikings and taking their scraps and putting them in Green Bay. I'm not sure I feel comfortable about it. But we'll talk about that next. Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios. Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Feeling good on a Tuesday. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen. Hope y'all are doing well here on a Tuesday. Thanks for checking us out. Don't forget anything you missed. You can also download wherever you get your favorite podcast at. Or how about this? Go to wisportsradio.com. If you missed spring training live last night, that's Brewers coverage. You go find that from last night. A new edition of Spring Training Live comes up tonight from 5 until 7 with the franchise. Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz did a bunch of different interviews. Today you'll hear from Craig Yoho, Brewers reliever, coming up at 4:20 as they had a chance to catch up with him earlier today and have a one-on-one interview with him. So that's coming up at 4:20. We'll check in with the franchise Tim Allen coming up at 3:20 as we talk about the Crew because he's going to give us an update on what's going on in that Brewers Great Britain game. I have the USA San Francisco exhibition game on right now on ESPN. That game against Great Britain, you can get on MLB.com audio. Well, that does me no good while I'm doing the show right now. So Tim will give us an update. Miz is starting for the Brewers today. So we'll see how the Miz does against Great Britain again coming up at 3:20. The Vikings have informed Aaron Jones and defensive lineman Javon Hargrave that they will be either traded or released. Which would you rather have on the Packers? Would you like both of them? One of them? Neither of them? How are your feelings on both of these guys? Nicolay Law Talk text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. As I said before the break, gives me the heebie-jeebies just thinking about taking Viking scraps to put on the Packers, because that makes me feel like we've become an inferior organization when we got to take scraps from the Vikings that they don't even want, but they're good enough to be on the Green Bay Packers. So that's a little demeaning, I would say, to Packer fans, that we would have to stoop to that level to take their crap. So that right away puts me in a foul mood that we're even having this conversation. Like, we should be above that at this point. That organization doesn't even know who the hell their quarterback is going to be next year. I have no idea. They're literally scouring planet Earth trying to see who can compete with J.J. McCarthy at quarterback, because it appears that they're about done on him. You mark my words on this one. You can write it down right now. They're going to give up on him. He's going to go somewhere else and play well. You mark it down. I promise you. That's how this is going to play. They're going to give up. He's going to go somewhere else and be a backup, wherever. And eventually, he's going to start somewhere else and make the playoffs and be a winning quarterback. Watch.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm on the same boat as you.
Dude, it's not that far different from Malik Willis. The difference is he was a first-round pick, right? Wasn't McCarthy a first-round pick? First-round pick. Malik Willis wasn't. Okay. But as far as number of games before they're done with him, it's relatively, I mean, he played a little bit more than Malik Willis, but he got hurt, didn't play the first year, then finally got some run this year, and they're like, oh, we're done. Really? You wasted a first-round pick. You took a first-round pick. He's played one full season, and you're waving the white flag going, we're out? Like, that is crazy town to me.
He kind of feels closer to Josh Rosen than a Sam Darnold to me in, like, these reclamation first-round pick type of guys.
Josh Rosen's a tough one.
And I feel like he's a type of player who, because of the draft class he was in, kind of felt like a safer bet for a team like the Vikings, where they could take a guy who's had success in his playing career and just translate that as easily as possible. And if they haven't been able to figure out how to translate that, a team that has been able to do these reclamation type projects with players before, like Sam Darnold, Josh Dobbs was an amazing quarterback for 3 weeks for that team somehow, some way. They've been able to do that before. And if they're not able to take a guy that wasn't even supposed to be a reclamation project, it's supposed to be an easy transition, and can't figure that out, I think other teams will notice that. Other teams know how good the Vikings are at doing this. That's part of the reason the Seahawks were able to buy into Sam Darnold so fast, because they just trust that Kevin O'Connell and that staff has been able to do this before. I think a lot of teams are going to be more wary of that, especially if the Vikings decide to move on from that this season.
Some NFL news. Bengals not taking Trey Hendrickson, free agent.
All right. Interesting.
You've got to be. What are we doing in Cincinnati, man?
Well,
you couldn't trade Trey Hendrickson. If you knew this was a possibility that you couldn't get this done, you should have traded him at the deadline last year when Burrow and all of that was going sideways. Like, you should have bailed immediately at the deadline to trade him somewhere that could have extended him and at least got some return. Like, I thought they didn't trade. I was like, okay, well, they had confidence they can get a long-term deal done. They didn't. Now, that's crazy. I got something even crazier in the NFL right now. We were talking about J.J. McCarthy go somewhere else. How about Daniel Jones? You up for Daniel Jones?
Let's hear it.
Daniel Jones, he was that guy, or supposed to be that guy in New York. He had one good year, which McCarthy hasn't had that yet, but had one good year and then went in the tank. Then the Colts are like, hey, we need a challenge for Anthony Richardson because we're giving up on him quick too. And Jones comes in and plays well, and then what happens? Gets hurt at the end, and the Colts' postseason chances are done. As y'all know, I like the Colts too, but they're stupid. It's really stupid. I mean, this is so dumb. The Colts are placing the transition tag on Daniel Jones.
I thought they wanted to pay him. That was the report like last week.
Do you know what they're going to pay him?
What is it?
The 1-year tender is $37.8 million for 1 year for Daniel Jones coming off of injury. There is not a chance, and you know what, that I'm paying Daniel Jones $37.8 million. Zero, zilch, nada. No chance.
We've been talking about Malik Willis getting $35 million. How is this that crazy? Daniel Jones was a starter for an entire half of the season here. Has had been a Pro Bowl season before this season now, and then was great this year.
Let's clarify something. They are talking about giving Malik Willis. I never said I would give Malik Willis $30 million or $35.
Yeah, but all the smart people we talk to are saying that same range.
I understand. I'm the idiot. There's no chance I'm giving him that much money. Now, the question we have is this. Vikings have informed Aaron Jones and Javon Hargrave are going to be trade release. Fine. Of both of those guys, would you want both? One of them? Neither of them? Where are you at? Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Javon Hargrave, 6'2", 307. He is 33. Just turned 33 February 7th. Okay? Last year, he had 3.5 sacks. 52 combined tackles on the year last year. Plus, he had a forced fumble last year. Had a fumble recovery last year as well. In 24, he was hurt and we played 3 games. In 23, he was a Pro Bowler, 7 sacks, 2 passes deflected, defended, whatever, 7 sacks. The year before that, in 22, he was 29, 17 games played, 11 sacks, by far his best year with Philadelphia, and 60 combined tackles. Not a Pro Bowler, though. That's even crazier. And then in 21, he was a Pro Bowler with 7.5 sacks, 63 combined tackles. This is where I'm at. If I can get this dude for relatively cheap because he had success under Gannon in Philadelphia, my answer is I want him. I absolutely want him. If we can get him relatively cheap because he wants to play for Gannon. Yes, I'm in. I know he's older, so it's against Goody, but yes, I would be interested. Secondly, Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones last year, 12 games played, because again, he just has issues staying healthy from time to time. Running the football, he had 2 touchdowns on the year. He averaged 4.2 yards per carry. The previous year, he played 17 games, had 5 touchdowns. He averaged 4.5 yards per carry. The previous year, 23, at age 29, 11 games, averaged 4.5 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. Previous year to that, 22, both these years in Green Bay, 5.3 yard average and 2 touchdowns, 17 games played. To that, I will say this. Emmanuel Wilson, they are not tendering, so he is going to become a free agent. Like Hargrave, I will say the same thing. If I can bring back Aaron Jones cheap to come back here and be the other guy to Josh Jacobs, not have that wear and tear of a starter on Aaron Jones throughout an entire season, replace Wilson with Jones, yes, I'm in. So my question to this is, if they both come relatively cheap and we're not having to pay $10 and $12 million a year, yes, I'm in on both. I bring them both in. As we talked about, youngest team in the NFL. They need some grizzled vets to come in here and help lead a little bit. Aaron Jones is clearly a leader. We saw that the last time he was here with these young receivers. We know he's a leader. And Hargrave is a Gannon guy. Gannon knows what he's working with. He can help with his defense, help with his defensive line, help with Devontae Wyatt, help with Van Ness and some of these other cats. So I'm in. I'll take both of them, even though it makes me feel slimy and sick to my stomach. I'd take both of them, Charlie.
I would take both of them if there are no better options at both of those positions. Javon Hargrave, as much as a positive pass defender he's been over the past few years, has been a relatively negative run defender in the past few years with both Minnesota, San Francisco, Philadelphia, all those teams. All the way since Pittsburgh. That's the last time he was good. I don't like that. Aaron Jones, yes, you need the run game to get more effective this season with the Packers, but I think that starts up with the interior of the offensive line that you have to shore up and make sure that that group is ready to go before the run game. I don't know if he really helps that much. I'd like them both if they're cheap, like you're saying, but if there's guys that are better options there, maybe younger options, add those guys first.
Coming up next, a shocking retirement, speaking of breaking news in the NFL, out of the city of Chicago. Shocking. Nobody saw it coming. It's going to leave a big hole in Chicago. Who is it? We'll tell you coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back, Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiber with you. Habish and Rotier, baby. Bleed the fifth Friday coming up this Friday, 420. Your chance to tell somebody to shh, be quiet, make yourself look bad. Don't do that, right? Every Friday at 420. You can always text in, whoever it may be that you want to be quiet, 414-677-1250. More notes you give Charlie, the better chance Charlie has of finding something one of the hosts on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network said that you want us to play back, so you can tell him
you
to
already
hush
told
it.
me something about Brandon Snide that I may want to play
Yes,
back.
Brandon Snide today. I was laughing hysterically in my car at 11 o'clock. If you missed that, go back and listen to the podcast. His view on his children playing for teams that he doesn't like was quite funny. So make sure to check us out every Friday at 420 and to come up with those people that you want to Experience matters when the stakes are high. Great teams rely on preparation and not guesswork. And that is why you go to Habish from a tier. National reputation. Why? Because they win. They win a lot. They win some huge cases over the course of time that are still record holders right now in the state of Wisconsin. But that doesn't matter necessarily to you, regardless of how much money that you're trying to get back because you were hurt in an accident or whatever the case may be. They're going to work just as hard for you as they would for some gigantic case. The same amount of effort will be put in for you, too. 13 locations statewide. Milwaukee, Green Bay, Madison, Appleton, Wausau, among just a few of them that will have your back in your time of need. Habish and Rotier, national reputation, hometown service. Call them today, 800-2HABISH, 800-2HABISH. Visit them at habish.com. As I said before the breaking news in the NFL, the Chicago Bears losing a player they had no idea that they were about to lose. Charlie Usen, what's going on?
All right, so center Drew Dahlman, who the Bears signed last season and was a Pro Bowler for the Bears last season, has informed the team that he is retiring from the NFL at age 27. This is from Adam Schefter. It is a surprising and sudden decision from Dahlman, according to his sources. Yeah, really weird move. Again, Dahlman was fantastic last season, a huge part of why the Bears offensive line took such a huge leap forward. And in a league where the center position is not really that plentiful right now in free agency, in the draft, this is a situation where the Bears, kind of like the Packers and Rich Bisaccia leaving, might be scrambling to find somebody to replace that spot.
This is the other part about this. There's not a lot of centers out there right now.
That's what I'm saying.
There's just not a lot. That dude in Baltimore, they all say that he's going to sign there. They're going to make him the highest paid center. DaCosta, their general manager, already said that. So he ain't going anywhere. That's about it. Not much else out there. Now, the good news is apparently there's a lot of dudes that people that scout college football think can come in and be contributors right away at the center position coming out of college football. But Elton Jenkins is going to be a guy. If they cut him and he gets to free agency, all of a sudden that could bite you in the rear end. The more I think about this and the more you look at this market, don't you think instead of just straight up releasing him, the odds are probably more in the favor of them restructuring the deal and extending him for less money and making it easier for the Packers to take on the cap this year versus straight up cutting him, because there's not a lot of options out there right now.
Well, I think that's part of the reason the Packers haven't made any kind of verbal announcement about a guy like Elton Jenkins, like a lot of these other teams are doing. I think some of these teams are making weird early announcements about trading or cutting a player that they don't have to because these players are at valuable positions. Try trading them under the radar first and then see what happens.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Here's Charlie using over there, other side of the glass. So we'll see what happens there. Hey, we have our poll question up. What's your biggest issue with the MLB heading into the 2026 season? Salary disparity, entertainment factor, integrity of the game, pace of play. Vote now. We'll tell you how that looks coming up at 4:40. Again, WI Sports Radio. Coming up next, an announcement of a new show that'll be airing on Saturdays with the host of that show. Coming up next, Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in hour number 2. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer here. Charlie Usen over there, broadcasting live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up this hour, Charlie Sounds of the Day at 3:40. Let's talk about the crew normally at 3 o'clock, but we have a special announcement here at 3 o'clock we're going to get to. So let's talk about the crew brought to you by the franchise. Tim Allen coming up at 3:20. He's watching Great Britain take on the Brew Crew down at Maryvale. So we'll get Tim Allen's thoughts and how The Miz did today for the Brewers. I honestly have no idea what the score is, anything going on in the game. As I said, I'm watching this USA-San Francisco game. USA up 3-1 on San Francisco at this point. So we'll talk to him coming up at 3:20. Also, we'll hear from Craig Yoho, Brewers reliever, at 4:20. As Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz, I had a chance to catch up with him earlier today and hear more interviews, including Jake Bowers. They had a chance to catch up with him. As far as I know, Tommy's not in jail, so that's good. Also, Pat Murphy. They had a chance to catch up with Pat Murphy earlier today. All of that coming up tonight. Spring Training Live, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook tonight from 5 until 7 o'clock. Joining us now, you can see him right there on X and on YouTube. The co-host with Dan Underberg of College Sports Weekly that will start this Saturday morning and go year-round from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. He is Don Wojczulis. Don, thanks for coming on, man. How are you? And Don cannot hear us. So that is not going to work if Don Wojczulis is having issues with his StreamYard. Or he's frozen. Maybe he's frozen because it does not appear that he is moving. So maybe we just call him on his cell phone and we give Don Wojczulis a call. We'll get him on via the phone. But College Sports Weekly will air on Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 o'clock with Dan Underberg. And it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be a show that talks college sports, so whether it be Division I from around the state, right? You're talking Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Green Bay, Marquette, whether it be that, whether it be Division II or even Division III at this point would also work. And the reason why I'm having him on today, because you're probably like, oh, the show's on Saturday. Why are you having him on Tuesday to promote the show for Saturday? Well, number one, I can run his promos now the rest of the week, talking about College Sports Weekly debuting. But also, there are a bunch of Division III teams that are going to be in the D3 tournament right now, all year from the state of Wisconsin. And that is a pretty cool deal. Like so many people, and I look, I understand, right? I do. I truly understand why when you're a parent, you're like, oh, I want my kid to play D1, right? I want my kid to go to Wisconsin and play for the Badgers. Say it's basketball or football, whatever the case may be. And 3 years later, barely playing, not having any real success, maybe was a walk-on and so forth. And instead of doing that, maybe you had that opportunity to potentially go to Whitewater and play at Whitewater, or go to lacrosse and play at lacrosse, or go to UW Green Bay and play basketball instead of football. Maybe all of those are options, but it's Division I, Sparky. It's a chance to play for the Badgers. We got to go take it. But wouldn't you rather have your child playing at a program where they're actually going to get to play and play quite a bit? And then if you play really well and so forth, maybe then there is your chance to move to play somewhere else. I really think D3 sports in general is really, really underrated. There are 9 Wisconsin teams, 9 that will compete in the 2026 NCAA D3 women's basketball tournament. 9. You have Carroll, La Crosse, Oshkosh, Platteville, Ripon, River Falls, Superior, Whitewater, and Wisconsin Lutheran. All going to compete in the NCAA Division III women's basketball tournament. That's pretty slick. Joining us now, try number 2. We'll see if he's got this figured out.
Phone.
Oh, he's on the phone. Okay, very good. Joining us now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. He is Don Wojczulis. Don, thanks for coming on, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Well, you ran through all the teams. It was good talking to you, Steve. We'll chat some other time.
Yeah, it was fun. We already promoted your show a couple of times. So again, College Sports Weekly, Saturday mornings, 9 to 11 with Dan Underberg. It'll be a lot smoother of a show than it was getting Don on here. Don, tell everybody what they're going to get when they tune in Saturday mornings from 9 to 11.
We're going to be talking college basketball from one end of the state to the other, whether it's Division I, Division II, Division III. And then, of course, all of the major headlines that creep their way into the sporting lexicon as the week goes on. We're going to make sure we cover those as well. And when coaches and players and other people associated in and around college sports, and just on a Saturday morning, we want to be the soundtrack for everybody who's out doing their errands and doing things around the house and have some fun talking college athletics.
And again, this is going to be a year-round show. It's not just for March and then all of a sudden it goes away or whatever the case may be. Basketball obviously is going to be top of mind here with the Badgers are going to be an NCAA tournament team. Obviously, we're on around the states. We're on in Green Bay, WNFL, 99.7 FM there. Your thoughts on Green Bay now as they are in the Horizon League tournament and their chances of potentially getting out of there and finding themselves an NCAA tournament bid?
Crazy.
His phone sucks too. Phone sucks, and his video can't work. Is he in a cave? Is he broadcasting?
No
Where
idea.
is he? Is he in a cave?
It looks like he just went away from his caves.
Is he underground? Like, what is going on?
He just walked away from his cave, so we'll see.
I don't understand. We haven't had these many issues with anybody in a long, long time. Video and phone don't work. Let's try this again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, hopefully you're above ground now. Are you above ground? Where were you?
I was never below ground, but yes, I am above ground, Steve.
That's
Thank you so
good.
much.
That's good. Yes, we like to keep you above ground as long as possible, Don Wojczulis. I love you too much for you to go underground. Okay, so go on. We're talking about Green Bay. What kind of chances do you give them to potentially come out of the Horizon? Because realistically, that's the only chance they have of getting to the NC2A.
Well, and that's the only chance anybody in the Horizon has.
Yep.
I mean, it's one of those leagues like any other mid-major. You got to win your conference tournament, get that AQ so you can go on to the dance. I give Green Bay as big of a chance as anybody else in the Horizon League because the Horizon League this year has seen teams rise and fall all season long. And what they've done as far as that turnaround has been from last year, I'll put them right in the mix with anybody going into this Horizon League tournament. We're already really underway with the play-in game yesterday.
You know, the other part about this, too, is we talk about Green Bay and the job that Doug Gottlieb has done, considering how bad they were last year to being one of the most improved teams probably in the country under Doug Gottlieb. And he's on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. with Inside Wisconsin Sports. He was actually on this morning at, 7:25 a.m. if anybody wants to go back and listen to that. But talk about the turnaround that's happened with Gottlieb there and just how much better Green Bay looks this year versus last. And again, a lot of people will be like, well, it's because he's not doing his radio show, Sparky. I don't believe that's Reacher. I don't know if one plays into the other necessarily, but definitely a much better team.
Yeah, I don't know if one played into the other or not, but I also know when you get one more year of experience under your belt, it's like any job. I think you have an idea of what it takes on a daily basis, but until you get into that position, there are some things that creep up that you may not have necessarily prepared yourself for, and you get a year of experience. You bring in athletes, you recruit athletes that fit your style, fit your program, fit your culture a little bit better. I think we've seen that this year at Green Bay, and I think you throw all of those elements into the mix, and you got yourself a team that's made a remarkable turnaround compared to where they were last year.
You like Green Bay tonight against Purdue Fort Wayne?
Yes, I do. I'd put Green Bay if we were sitting at Potawatomi right now. I'd put a little something on Green Bay to win tonight's game.
Green Bay comes out as a 5 seed. What about the Milwaukee Panthers with Coach Lundy doing his thing? Obviously not the season that they wanted. They come in as an 8 seed. They play tomorrow against number 3 seed Detroit Mercy.
That's going to be a tough one. Bart, unfortunately, his team over there at UWM has looked more like a MASH unit than anything else with the number of injuries that they've had, and I think that set them back this year. But I always have faith in Bart. In Lundy putting on the lab coat going into the tournament, I don't know with all of those injuries if they have the horses to win it. But I also know they've got the ability to win a game or two once this thing gets underway.
Talking with Don Wojczulis. His show, College Sports Weekly, will debut coming up this Saturday on the Wisconsin Sports Network Radio Network from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. It'll be there year-round every Saturday morning from 9 to 11. Don Wojczulis, Dan Underberg will take you a bunch of interviews, reaction. Charlie Usen will be a part of that show as well on Saturday mornings, hanging out with both of those guys, interjecting his 2 cents, I'm sure. Let's talk a little bit about the Wisconsin Badgers before we get to D3. And what you think of what that unit looks like, because again, there are times where they look like, hey, they could get on a hell of a run in the tournament. Then there are other times when they're not hitting their threes. They're dead in the water most nights if they're not hitting their threes. Then there's the Greg Gard having not done much in the NCAA tournament in the last several years. How do you view this Badgers team?
I'll view this Badger team just like what we saw on the West Coast this past week. You know, you go into Oregon, you start out strong, and then you just fade by the wayside. Yep. But then you go ahead and play Washington, and you're lights out. And that's kind of the issue with the Badgers right now, where I think a lot of the fan base is a little nervous, knowing that Greg Gard hasn't had a great deal of success with regards to the tournament and getting at least to the Sweet 16. And then we've seen this team in one breath show absolute brilliance like they did against the Washington Huskies and then lay an egg like they did against Oregon. I think that's why the fan base kind of walks this fine line in wondering what's going to take place once the tournament does begin.
Got to touch on Marquette a little bit. Obviously, they're not going anywhere, so don't really got to worry about them going to the tournament or anything like that. Clearly, not the year that Shaka Smart envisioned. However, claims have been made by Shaka that they are going to entertain the portal for the first time. Your thoughts on Marquette this year?
I'm curious to see how he dabbles in the portal, because I think he was in the process of creating the grand experiment of doing basketball like we've done it for the last century as far as recruiting and developing. You saw this Marquette team get exponentially better as the season went along. You can still see the youth and their inability to close. So how many players does he add? What does that do to what he's trying to build at Marquette? I think it's going to be a very curious offseason for the Marquette Golden Eagles.
But the other question on this, Don, is do they have the money to compete in the portal?
Yeah, without question. Without question. It's Marquette. It's Marquette. They print money at Marquette like the NFL prints money. I don't think they have an issue as far as paying for players. I think right now, Shaka Smart had dug his feet into the sand and said, this is how we're going to do it. And it hasn't worked to the level that I think he had hoped. And I think now really for he and that fan base, as well as the university, they're going to have to now fork out a few bucks, go out to the transfer portal and fill some holes.
Talking with Don Wojczulis, host of College Sports Weekly, Saturday mornings, 9 to 11, debut show coming up this Saturday morning here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Him and Dan Underberg do a great job. You can follow Don on X at Butch_AFL, at Butch_AFL. All right, let's switch gears. I was talking about this while we were having our technical issues earlier. A record-breaking 9 Wisconsin teams will compete in the 2026 NCAA D3 women's basketball tournament. Carroll, La Crosse, Oshkosh, Platteville, first ever appearance for them. Ripon, River Falls, Superior, Whitewater, and Wisconsin Lutheran. That is about as impressive as you're going to see from one state.
Absolutely. And I don't think you'll find another state in the continental United States that is putting that many teams in total into the Division III tournament when we take both men and women. It speaks to the level of basketball that gets played at the Division III level here in the state. It speaks to the conferences that these teams play in. You know, now with Division III using NPI in order to figure out who's in and who's out. And when you look at wins and losses, you know, the WIAC essentially beats each other up throughout the course of the regular season. But because those teams are ranked so well and because their NPI numbers are so good, that's why you're seeing the level. I mean, 13 teams total out of the state getting ready to dance on Friday.
From the 414 on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line, the WIAC is the best D3 conference in the country. Agree or disagree, Don Wojczulis?
I agree. I think there's a couple that may give them a run for their money down in Texas, maybe out east in the New York metropolitan area. But overall, and when we're talking overall, I mean all sports. I mean, think about the number of championships that have been won, let's just say at UW Whitewater, from football to basketball to gymnastics to track to swim, all of it. The culture within the WIAC is such that all of these universities are incredibly competitive. And because of that competition, we as fans, we get some of the best D3 college sports there is.
Don Wojczulis, thank you so much for coming on. Can't wait. Saturday morning, 9 to 11, him and Dan Underberg, each and every Saturday, year-round here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. So if you're in Green Bay and Appleton on WNFL and Wausau or Duluth and Superior on the Game or on the Fan in the Milwaukee, southeastern Wisconsin part of the state, you can hear Dan and Don each and every Saturday morning. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Sparky, Charlie, have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to everybody on Saturday morning.
Sounds good. There he is, Don Wojczulis, College Sports Weekly co-host, joining us there on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Coming up next, let's talk about the crew with the franchise. Tim Allen, he's taking in Brewers and Great Britain. We'll talk to him and get his thoughts on the spring training live show coming up tonight with him and Tommy Wirtz from 5 to 7 o'clock. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. This is such a weird song. It's so
You
weird.
just gotta feel the music, Sparky.
Feel the music. No, I don't. No, I didn't like it the last time we played it either. For those of you tuning in, we let the listeners, the Wisconsin Sports Daily, pick the bumper music for the next couple of months, and they picked it. And this will be running through March and April. We got Yakety Sax is one of them. We've got Van Halen. We got all kinds of different
Lonely
ones.
Island is on there.
Yes. Yep. That's
It's
another one.
Very eclectic. Yes.
Shine Down. Got a bunch of different groups. So that one there, that Robert Miles children's song, that one is the only one that really bothers
I'm proud of you for trying to listen to it again, though. I'm trying to give it another shot.
Because the first time I cut it off, I said, okay, this sucks. I'm moving on. But I let that one play out.
It's time to talk about the crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
So proud of my guy, the franchise, Tim Allen on video, looking good on video on X and on YouTube. Joining us on the guest line there, brought to you by Gruber Law, One Call. That's all. He is in the press box in Maryvale at American Family Field, taking in the Brewers game and Great Britain. Tim Allen, what's the latest?
Well, they're in play right now. Jacob Mizorowski did pitch in this ball game. Now, I will remind you, Stevie, that this is the booth. This is the infamous booth.
Where you got hit in the head.
Where I was hit in the head.
And how it went was, so the ball came back, his window was open, and if we remember correctly, because I know I do, my window was down because I was doing the afternoon show, so I was looking at the computer. Tim was talking with Kevin Kennedy, former big league manager, who was with Fox at that point, and they're talking. And Tim wanted his window open. It's hot in here, Stevie. Open it up. Okay. So I open it up. So eventually what ends up happening is Tim Allen gets beamed by a ball, and when you listen to the audio, it's like, and I go, coming back after you already got hit. I was way too late on it, but yeah.
So in that same booth right now, and during your commercial break there, we just had a foul ball. Tommy was Johnny on the spot on that one.
Good.
Came about, no, he wasn't. He didn't even see it.
Oh.
he never saw it. And it came back and wham, probably less than 5 feet from me.
Tommy's laughing in the background. That's not a good sign for your safety going forward on this trip.
When it happened, I just looked at him and just shook my head.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, it wasn't that close." Yeah, it was, because you didn't see it.
Unbelievable. Good God. All right. So the franchise, Tim Allen, joins us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. And again, out there, it's the Brewers and Great Britain. Mizorowski was on the mound to start this one. How did he do?
Couple of innings, Stevie. He was 38 pitches, 24 for strikes, had 5 punch-outs in the ball game.
Ooh.
He did walk a man. That did come back to haunt him. He did allow a run on a couple of hits.
He's gone. You can stop talking. You're gone.
We lose everybody today.
What is going on? Gone. It's all gone. Okay. Well, that was a fun segment. That worked out well. He doesn't even know he's off. Nothing.
He can't hear you either.
Nothing. What? I'm done. No more interviews after this. This show is cursed. First, it's Wojczulis at 3:00, and we can't get the link to work for StreamYard. Then he goes on the phone and disappears because he's in a cave or something. And we're finally able to get him on and complete it. And now I got cackling Tommy Wirtz over there, and I lost Tim Allen on the Comrex unit. What? Can we start the show? The 3:00 hour. The 2:00 hour was great. We had no guests. There was nothing wrong. We go to try and do guests in the 3 o'clock hour, complete disaster. I'll take this time to remind you to go vote on our poll question at WI Sports Radio on X. What's your biggest issue with the MLB heading into the 2026 season? Is it salary disparity? Is it the entertainment factor? Is it integrity of the game? Or is it pace of play? Vote now on that poll question on X at WI Sports Radio. And we'll revisit that and Think Sparky Missed coming up at 4:40. Brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals, and lots of stuff to get into there involving the Brewers. There's MLB Spring Breakout that they introduced and came up with yesterday. We'll dive into that. Brewers announced new ballpark food and some other fun stuff like that. We'll jump into that as well coming up at 4:40. Plus, still to come, we will check in on Charlie's Sounds of the Day, but regardless of what sport it is, can you feel it? The thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam, a buzzer-beating three. You know the feeling. There's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration, the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Catch all the action in a supreme space with dozens of sports betting kiosks, cool drinks, 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails, luxury seating, 2 levels, great food, a full menu at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Got all-day brunch going on, homemade desserts and pastries going on at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Unbelievable atmosphere and a monster video wall. We're talking 2,000 square feet, 30 different things, 30 different games at one time, only at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Reserve your seat ahead of time. Nominal fee. Go sort your food and beverage costs. More info now at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino.
They're on the phone if you want to try them again.
What happened to the expensive unit that we gave them to broadcast from? Joining us now is the franchise Tim Allen. Tommy Wirtz is fired. Tell him. Just tell Tommy to move on, because this. What happened? What happened?
It might have been the baseball that hit some cable line or something. It's ridiculous.
Or Tommy doesn't know what he's doing. It could be either one, but it's fine. Okay, so let's try number two. Try number two on Mizorowski. So he gave up a run. In how many innings of work did he pitch?
Two innings of work, 38 pitches, 24 of them for strikes. Struck out 5 in the performance. Did walk a man. Gave up a couple of singles. One was an RBI squared up, pretty decent squared up base hit. But the other one was a cheap single, just a little flare job. So that was one of the hits. But everything came out fluid. He got some work in. We're going to have his comments. He spoke to the media after the game, or after his performance. And so we'll have that for you on Spring Training Live tonight. Aaron Ashby, a couple of innings pitched. He looked pretty good as well. And after that, Jared Koenig, not so much. Another outing in which he's getting thumped up a little bit here. But again, you take that with a grain of salt. You kind of figure that, some of these guys are really working on a particular pitch or something like that. So you really can't hold them to some of the numbers here. On the offensive side, guys, David Hamilton, who that was the quantum leap prediction by Pat Murphy this season, has a solo home run in today's ball game. 4-2, Great Britain. DL Hall, by the way, pitched in this ball game for Great Britain, but doesn't play for Great Britain. Okay, so DL Hall pitched in this ball game for Great Britain, doesn't play for Great Britain, and pitched against the Brewers.
Yeah, that happens in the World Baseball Classic. From time to time, because they don't want to use their arms more than so forth. That's just,
they'll use the home team's arm, a little bit, and really the Brewers don't mind it now, or do they? Ramping up, we're going to hear from Pat Murphy tonight on Spring Training Live on whether or not a slow ramp up to the season is a baseball trend. Or is it a Brewers trend, or is it something that they just decided to do?
But Tim Allen, the franchise, joins us. Catch him and Tommy Wirtz tonight, Spring Training Live, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, tonight from 5 to 7 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. You'll hear from Pat Murphy. You'll hear from Jake Bowers. God only knows what that was like. Was he hugging on Bowers while he was talking? I don't want to know. Never mind. But my thing is this. I saw Murphy talked about the idea that, Woodruff may not be ready because of the slow ramp up. And now there's talk that Quinn Priester may not be ready either, which means the guy pitching today, Mizorowski, has to be the opening day starter. But the reasoning for Priester is wrist discomfort from last regular season. I don't understand.
He's in camp here. They say he's fine. The doctors told him there's nothing really wrong. And so we'll see. But you mentioned Mizorowski. And think about this. Opening day starter is a really, really big stamp of approval for a pitcher in that organization, right?
Yeah.
And so go with that. Is Kyle Harrison that guy?
No.
Is Chad Patrick that guy?
No, it's Miz. He pitched in the postseason last year. Miz should be the opening day starter for the next decade if everything goes right.
Okay, I'll go you one further, Stevie. I asked Murph in the briefing, is it possible that it's an opener?
Oh, my God.
On opening day?
No.
You'll find that answer out on Spring Training Live.
You're playing the crappy White Sox at home. Like, no, there is no opener against the damn White Sox. You're not. No.
I'm just saying, you'll hear his answer. I asked Murph that, so it could be an opener on opening day.
If I was Miz, I'd be livid. Like, you trust me to go out there and pitch in the postseason. I was unbelievable coming out of the gate last year. Then, mysteriously, I can't pitch because of a comebacker that I finished the performance in that game, and all of a sudden I'm on the IL, mysteriously.
Great theater. Great theater. Absolutely, it would be.
Yes.
Opening day, all the hype around it. Miz is, going and flame throwing. I think Tommy told me he was throwing 110 today.
Yeah, definitely don't think it was 110, but he's still on that Jake Bauers high from being close to him, so that'll happen. Hey, I want to know this as far as Christian Yelich goes, because obviously Yelich isn't playing anywhere. He's obviously still in the Milwaukee camp. That's a guy that played for Team USA when he was a younger cat, like Bryce Terang is, like Fisher is, and some of these other guys. I'm curious, when you get your chance to talk to Yelich, how much input and advice and conversations did he have with a lot of these guys like Joey Ortiz that were going off to play for these countries in the World Baseball Classics, considering he's a vet and he's done it before?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. When we get
Tell me. I'm done. I'm all done. All done. We're done. We're all done. All done. There goes the franchise, Tim Allen. I'm done. No more guests. I don't care who calls in going forward. I don't care who you are. You could be the owner of the Bucks, the Brewers, the Packers. We're not taking you. Packers don't even have an owner, but we're not taking you. Don't care who you are. You're not coming on the show because this has been a complete disaster trying the back-to-back interviews. We're all done. But tonight, hopefully things will go better for Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz. Spring Training Live, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook from 5 to 7. Do you know who I blame for this? Do you know who I blame for this?
Who's that?
Mitch Rosen, who is our boss. That is who I blame for all of this. You want to know why? Literally last night, we were talking after I was off the show, and he says, man, I'm pretty impressed. We haven't had any technical issues of anything, considering, where everybody's broadcasting from and da-da-da-da-da. It's been absolutely great. It's great. It's like you just jinxed us. Sure enough, every other show has been fine today. Comes to my show, and we screw up 2 of them. That's okay. We'll move on. Charlie, sounds of the day coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fight with you, Charlie Usen. Apologize for the last 40 minutes of this show. That was not good. It was not good. I love both dudes. Wojczulis is my guy. Tim Allen, my guy.
That was supposed to be the best 40 minutes of the show.
Yeah,
man.
I thought that was going to be great. Back to back, really good interviews. Complete disaster. Like, it's just horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But that's fine. Why? Know why? Because we can't screw this segment up.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged?
What's the last half hour?
Will laughter ensue?
No.
It's time
no
for
way.
Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie, use it. Put a smile on my face. Give me something good.
First up, we're heading over to ESPN and Get Up, where Kendrick Perkins was on that show.
I'm done. You finished the show. I'm going home. I am done. You got to be kidding me. You just heard the last half hour. You want to leave with Kendrick freaking Perkins.
I do want to leave with Kendrick Perkins. He says the Milwaukee Bucks have no shot to keep Giannis moving forward, especially after last night's performance.
I see the same thing, Greeny, and we gotta show give Giannis his flowers and show him a lot of respect for going out there, because he knows that this team is not, doesn't have a legitimate shot at making a real playoff push. But Giannis is doing this for the fans, and this is why we love Giannis. This is why he's one of former players. He's one of those players that former players love because of his competitive nature. His heart and soul is in Milwaukee, but I do believe that after this season, he's going to move on and move forward. There's nothing else, in my opinion, that the Milwaukee Bucks can do this offseason to make Giannis stay. I don't see that other disgruntled superstar that's going to be out there that they could bring in that's going to convince Giannis that next year he's going to have a legit shot at trying to win the NBA championship.
Okay. So first of all, yes, Kendrick Perkins. They have no chance of making a run the postseason. We agree. Second of all, I'm fine with you giving him his flowers for playing off of an injury and not shutting it down for the rest of the year like seemingly everybody else in the NBA is doing when they're on a bad team, because they understand that A, it sucks to lose, and B, their team might actually be able to get a star player if they do shut it down and don't come back and play for their team. That's why most of these guys aren't coming back and playing for their team, because this is one of the most loaded drafts we've seen in 20, 30 years. Not Giannis, because he wants to compete and win. Okay, fine. So he comes out there and he plays. The idea that Giannis coming back and playing deserves flowers or whatever, I don't know, man. Like, you can look at that however you want to look at that.
I don't think Giannis would say he deserves flowers.
I like the competitive nature. I like the idea of, if I'm healthy, I want to play. Like, I get down. I respect all of that. I completely do. Like, that is amazing. Because, like I said, a lot of guys just shut it down and be like, I'm not playing for this crappy team. I'm done. I'm going to Cancun, doing whatever I'm doing, but I'm not playing anymore. This sucks. So you absolutely could do it. Now, we'll see. Because he's already been shut down twice this year. Let's see if at some point he grabs the calf and then all of a sudden he's done for the rest of the year after they lose 4 or 5 in a row. And let's see how this plays out. Because if they're not winning games, they're getting blown out. Is he going to play all the way through and continue to get embarrassed every night in the national media? I don't know. We'll find out. All right, what's next?
Next up, we're going to head on over to foul territory, where a friend of the show, AJ Pierzynski, was discussing Jurickson Profar, Atlanta Braves designated hitter, getting suspended once again for PEDs, this time potentially for the entire season.
Last year, remember, everyone's like, oh, he made a mistake. He didn't know what he put in his body. What happened this time? And I love Profar. I played with Profar when he first came up, but you can't have this happen. I'm sorry. Like, no matter what there's no excuse at this point. If you don't give me the excuse also of, oh, sometimes their trainers give them stuff and they just trust the trainer. If you've already been popped once, you damn sure better not trust your trainer again. Like, what are we doing? This is just now this just becomes blatant cheating, right? This is just blatant. I can outclass the system. I'm breaking the rules. I know what I'm doing. You missed the whole year. You cost yourself a bunch of money. I'm sorry. This is awful. This is just awful.
Okay. Jurickson Profar career earnings $41 million. Jurickson Profar this year was scheduled to make $15 million. Jurickson Profar next year is going to make $15 million. This is all guaranteed money, folks. So yes, he's going to miss $15 million, but he's going to get $15 million next year. And if he's a two-time repeater of this, what are the chances that something possibly could have been going on in 2025 that helped net him 2 years at $30 million or whatever the case may be at the end of the day? I mean, that to me, he signed a 3-year, $42 million with a contract, including $42 million guaranteed, an average salary of $14 million. In 26, Profar will earn a base salary of $15 while carrying a total salary of $15. So let's see here. This deal must have been signed in 25 then. So in order to, before 25, in order to get that deal.
2024, I believe. It was the year where he's coming off that big year with the Padres, and then he got suspended for the first half of the season with Atlanta when he signed with there.
Correct. So again, if you get paid, you get paid. See Ryan Braun, folks. We still don't know how far back that goes. There was reports that went back to college in Miami. And they paid him thinking that was the deal. That's the real guy. That's who this guy is. He got paid. He got busted. He missed some time, half a season, whatever it was. And then he came back and continued to earn money. And you're going to tell me that's not worth it? Now, if you don't care about going in the Hall of Fame, hell yes, it's worth it in Major League Baseball to do this. Especially if it's about getting gigantic contracts. Because even if you get caught, the rest of your money's guaranteed. Fine, you miss a half a season. Fine, you miss a full year. He comes back next year, he's going to make $15 million if he doesn't get fail again. So is it worth it for Jurickson Profar? Of course it is. He ain't no Hall of Famer based on his numbers. It doesn't matter. Of course it's worth it to cheat. It's not like they say, okay, you fail a drug test, the rest of your contract's ripped up, and you owe us money from the previous year or however long we have you dated back to cheating. They don't do that stuff. They're never going to do that stuff. So yes, of course it makes sense for them to cheat. We haven't heard a lot of guys getting busted. Now, again, I have no inside information. My guess is they found something that they haven't been able to catch yet as far as the cheating aspect of it goes. Because again, you will never convince me that baseball players are ever going to stop trying to figure out how to get bigger, stronger, faster to make even more money. Like, sorry, I don't believe you. I think they're always going to be trying
until there's a salary cap put in place. I think it doesn't deter it completely, but I think it changes the amount of guys chasing for that huge number. When you have the contracts that you have, I think that allows these players to have those dreams of being the Shohei Ohtanis, even though they're not built or born like Shohei Ohtani was. So you have to put something else in place that deters that.
All right, Charlie, third one.
And last up here, we're going to hear from Ross Tucker. He was discussing college quarterbacks, Dante Moore and Trinidad Chambliss, trying to avoid the Jets instead of staying in college for the money or loving their teams, all because they just don't want to play in New York.
I disagree with that being part of the discussion.
Okay.
You have a chance to be the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft. And I know you can say the Jets aren't a great organization or whatever. Ask Drew Aller from Penn State. Ask Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. Ask some of these guys who are now just hoping to be day 2 picks, who a lot of people were saying maybe last year they would have been first-round picks, or going into this year, they would have been first-round picks. So we'll hear all this stuff about Dante Moore and Arch Manning and Chambliss. And listen, they can't all go 1 or 2 next year, Dan. And people, this notion that you want to avoid the Jets, first of all, it's a little bit disrespectful to their new regime. Secondly, what organization do you think is picking 1, 2, or 3 next year that you think is so great that you're going to avoid? That is the worst logic. And they go, they make plenty of money. Yeah, you're going to tell me $5 million of NIL is worth turning down $50 million fully guaranteed.
Okay. We start talking about NIL money, guaranteed money, turning down money, and all of that. Charlie, you tell me what you think. It's easy to say turn something down when it's not you. But it's not easy to actually do it. I don't care what it is. Like, remember the Live Golf I mean, they're still trying of golf. All those people took money from the people in Saudi Arabia and everything else, right? Okay, fine. You can be critical and say you would have said no and you would have stayed where you were. But at the end of the day, those people also are trying to get as much as they can so they don't have to work. Their kids don't have to work. Their grandkids don't have to work. That's really what it is. And you start talking about throwing out guaranteed money to whoever the case may be, and then whether that affects the cap if you're in the NFL or whether that puts you on deferred money in Major League Baseball and all that stuff, you have to get as much guaranteed money as you can in any sport.
At least the live golfers were getting more money than what they were getting paid from the PGA. To Ross Tucker's point, if you go second overall in this draft, you're getting paid a lot more money than that $5 million. Like, that's guaranteed. That's what makes it weird. So that those guys at least could say the monetary incentive was there. These guys, it's not.
But see, this is the thing, though. If I decide I'm staying in college and I'm not going into the draft because I don't want to go play potentially for whoever may be in the top 3 or top 4 or whatever else, that's your choice. If you figure, okay, it's $5 million. I mean, starting quarterbacks in college football right now are going to be making around $3 to $5 million a year. Your top receivers and running backs are all making over $1 million a year. And when you get to college basketball, you're making a bunch of money there. When you start talking about 1 through 12, they're probably all making what? $250,000, $300,000 a year,
making a ton of money just in the BYU team.
Isn't he making $7 a year?
I think that's what it was. Yeah, 7.2 or something.
I mean, so again, it's easy. It's easy to say, okay, don't do that. Go to the pros, whatever, and go do your thing. In this case, because you have the NIL fallback money, do what you got to do, man. If you don't like the teams that are sitting up at the top and you want to come back and wait out a year, because what's going to happen? If you're the Bandstar or whoever that's passing it up, you don't think you're going to get more guaranteed money and NIL money from the university if you go back for another year when you're a projected top 3 pick? Of course you are. There's no question.
I just
and
don't
you
think
get to
that's
live
the
the college
same in
life
college
again.
football. I just don't think that translates the same way. There.
Why?
I think a lot of those guys, and to his point, he pointed out Nussmeier, pointed out Aller from Penn State, all these players that went back, they didn't get paid too much more than what they were getting paid in the first place. They were probably getting paid in that same range of the players, maybe $1 million more, but they could have been top 10 picks making $10 million a year. They could have had this guarantee.
No, and that's the thing that I will disagree with. You have to, he knows this. You get projections from the National Football League if you want projections of where they think you're going to end up in the draft. Then you have to make up your mind. Is it better to go back to advance my status, or is it better to enter the draft because I'm not going to make it any better? And that's a choice that they have to make. That's a choice their agent has to make. And because of NIL money, is it better to stay there? Some guys like playing in college. Some guys like the girls and the parties and all that stuff and ain't trying to get all the pressure of being in the National Football League and are already millionaires before we even get to the point of going to the NFL. This isn't people scrounging by and needing money. They're all millionaires at this point. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Coming up next, Green and Gold update time. The Packers' needs in free agency. We'll talk about the history next.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is time again. Welcome in as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. See Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Charlie Hughes on the other side of the glass. We'll hear from Brewers reliever Craig Yoho, the man with the masterful changeup. He'll join Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz. They had a chance to talk with him earlier today. We'll play that back for you coming up around 4:20 or so. Think Sparky Miss, brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals, will happen coming up at 4:40. Also, don't forget to get involved in our poll question today. What's your biggest issue with Major League Baseball heading into the 2026 season? The reason we're doing this is because The Athletic did their own fan survey. So we wanted to do our own little survey on a poll question. Salary disparity, entertainment factor, integrity of the game, or pace of play. Vote now on X at WI Sports Radio. Again, vote on X at WI Sports Radio for that. We'll get you an update on that coming up a little bit later in the hour. But it is 4 o'clock. It's time to go here.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
All right, here we go. Wendell Ferreira, who does a great job with A to Z Sports covering the Packers, put out this tweet earlier today that I saw. I wanted to jump into it a little bit for our green and gold update here. And that is Packers history in free agency under Brian Gutekunst as general manager, specifically. Okay? Now, 2018, Muhammad Wilkerson, defensive tackle, Jimmy Graham at tight end, Tramon Williams at cornerback. 2019, Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Adrian Amos, and Billy Turner. My memory sucks because I thought that Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith year was his first year in free agency. I don't remember him being the Jimmy Graham, Tramon Williams guy. I thought that technically was still Ted. But I'll go with Wendell Ferreira on this one because I didn't look back to see if I'm right or wrong. I'm just saying by memory, that's what it seems to be for me. 2020, Rick Wagner, former Badger. That didn't turn out all that well. Christian Kirksey, the linebacker. 21, they got a long snapper. 2022, Pat O'Donnell, the punter. Jaron Reed, the defensive tackle. That also didn't work out necessarily all that well. He was okay, but nothing great. Ended up going back to Seattle. Keyshawn Nixon, the cornerback. Obviously, that has worked out well. They brought him as a special teams guy, and he ended up becoming their best cornerback. Then in 23, Tarvarius Moore at safety. No. Matt Orzek, long snapper. That worked out. 24, Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, Greg Joseph. Joseph obviously did not work out. And then in 25, last year, Aaron Banks, Nate Hobbs, McCole Hardman, who they eventually ended up cutting, and Christian Welch. That's the history of Brian Gutekunst. What we want to know from you is this. How active do you think the Packers need to be in free agency? And how many starters do you think they need to add via free agency when it comes to spending their money, bringing in a vet? Nicolay Law, talk to text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials at WI Sports Radio. Charlie Usen, other side of the glass.
I think it's hard looking at this Packers team and then looking at the free agency class that is available right now for this Packers squad and say they'll be able to fix all of the problems that plagued them at the end of the season last year. Again, offensive line depth is probably one of the biggest needs in my mind.
Right.
Defensive line depth is one of the biggest needs in my mind. And both those positions are weak at the moment. We talked about the center position earlier in the Bears with Drew Dahlman retiring and how much of a struggle it is going to be for them to find another player to fill that role, especially at a Pro Bowl caliber that he was at. And the only player that can do that right now is Tyler Linderbaum, who is currently going to go back to the Ravens. I saw people talking about Tyler Biadasz and whether or not he could come in and be that type of player. Yeah, he can come in, but that's not going to be any of the flashy moves I think people are asking for. People are wanting for this Packers team. At the same time, it's not flashy positions that you need to upgrade at, besides maybe cornerback. But cornerback is always a gamble. Yeah, you could go out and sign Marshawn Lattimore. How different is that from Trevon Diggs, who you signed this past season at the end of the year, who barely played? You can go and give those guys
you could bring back Trevon Diggs.
You could if you wanted to. I don't really see why you would want to at this point. I don't think, again, he adds any more value than any of these other veteran guys that are getting released, or even a rookie in the day 2, day 3. I think this is a offseason where, yes, I want them to be more active. Yes, I think most fans want them to be more active. But realistically, how active is active enough when there isn't enough talent out in the free agency room, instead of just spending money on guys that won't help this team?
That's exactly right. And this is the other part about it too. I think from a Packers standpoint, you have to look at free agency and balance that with what is there with what the draft is going to bring you to, because you don't have a one. So it's a little bit more of a crapshoot as far as who's going to fall to you, not fall to you. Now, it's more of an art form than I think people give it credit to, as far as teams having an idea of what other teams are doing. But there's only so much that you know. You may have a good idea of the first 20 to 25 picks of an NFL draft. And then, of course, there's always that crazy GM that makes some outlandish pick, and everybody shakes their head and goes, what was that all about? He could have got that guy in the second round. Why in the world would you take him here? And then all of a sudden, the whole draft board gets screwed up, and then everybody's in scramble mode. So we start talking about picks at the end of 2 and at the end of 3. It becomes a little bit harder. But like we were talking about earlier, Dahlman retiring, the Bears starting center at age 27. It was leaked out there earlier today about that happening. Well, the Bears weren't planning to have to figure out the center position. There's not a lot of great free agent centers out there. The Packers are going to have a decision to make with whether or not now Elton Jenkins becomes a guy that they restructure and keep versus trying to go play in that market. Because if they straight up cut Elton Jenkins, now you have to figure out, okay, now we have to use a pick or 2 potentially at the center position in this upcoming draft. And then you're going to give Jordan Love a rookie center in a year in which Packer fans are all mad that they can't go farther in the postseason the last 2 years. And now you're going to put a rookie center out there to be in charge of the line and make the calls and do all this other stuff with what you have already. Doesn't seem very smart. Makes sense if you go sign a veteran center that has been in the league for a few years and knows what he's doing. Fine. But outside of that, maybe it makes sense to keep Jenkins. Now I don't have to worry about drafting a center. I don't have to worry about signing a center in free agency. I think the answer to my question that we have here, I think, is I want a corner and I want a big defensive tackle. Those are the 2 areas I'm looking for. And normally, as you get through free agency, you can get defensive tackles relatively cheap, Charlie, the deeper you get in. Once you get through the first 2 or 3 days of, the Pro Bowlers and whatever, now you can start to get a couple of bigger, wider guys that can come in and do the job that you want them to do. They don't have to be pass rushers. They have to hold up 2 offensive linemen and stop the run. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking them to get 10 sacks a year. I just want them to keep guys off of my linebackers behind me.
Make a TFL every once in a while.
Yeah.
Again, give this team some kind of extra depth in that run game, which is what they were missing. Again, especially towards the second half of the year when you had teams like the Bears running all over them, when you had these squads like the Carolina Panthers who shouldn't have been running all over them, and then we're running all over them. You can't have that moving forward here. And not that one big defensive tackle fixes that, but that's the type of player that you need to find in order to shore that up a little bit, along with maybe another edge rusher somehow, some other kind of depth. I think that's the biggest thing this team should be looking for in free agency. I know that's not sexy, but it's what they need.
Correct. That's exactly correct. That's what they need. And I think the other part about this, when you talk about the Packers and where they're at, what really is the goal? Like, is the goal Super Bowl in 2026, 27? Is that legitimately the goal? Is the goal simply win the division and stop the bleeding from not winning the division for 3 straight years? Is that the goal? Now, clearly, when you make your goals at the beginning of the year, it's make the playoffs, win the division, get to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. Normally, those are your 4 goals when you go into a season. Now, they have not been doing that. They've been making the playoffs, but they've not been winning necessarily the division. When you trade for Micah Parsons, that's an all-in move. It's Super Bowl or bust time because we have the highest paid defender in all of football in Micah Parsons. We're going for a Super Bowl now in this Micah Parsons window. We're not screwing around. Well, if that is what this is, then you should be invested in adding 2 or 3 or 4 free agents, providing you can free up enough money through restructuring and cuts and everything else to bring in here to fill holes with veterans that have been around, have been in the battles, have played in the postseason, all of that stuff that can also come in here and help lead some of these younger guys as far as how to go about doing their business and helping with in-game adjustments and halftime and all this other stuff and showing the tricks of the trade to these younger guys. It should be that time where you bring in vets that are able to do that. You brought in Banks last year, hurt half the year.
It wasn't exactly spectacular when he was healthy.
No. And then Nate Hobbs, again, hurt most of the year. So you really didn't get your bang for the buck at all with Hobbs or Banks. There have been some people talking about maybe they cut Banks. Can't see it. But that did not work. Now, when you went out and got Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith, that worked. Adrian Amos for a couple of years, that worked. Billy Turner, that worked. He was able to plug a hole in the offensive line and be a swing guy and all of that. That worked as well. You need that type of deal this offseason. You need to get 2 or 3 starters that can come in and make an impact right away so you're not relying on 2nd and 3rd round picks to come in here and have to make an impact right away. Your 1st round pick last year was a receiver who was on the field, yes, but made no impact. None. And if it's Super Bowl or bust time, you cannot afford to go through that again this offseason where free agents don't make an impact and rookies don't make an impact. That must change for Brian Gutekunst this offseason, who's coming off of signing an extension and being rewarded for what he's done here for the last several years. That does not include getting his team to a Super Bowl.
And I think with these players, I'm a little opposite than you. I guess I still want that veteran talent. I just don't think they need to be starters for this team. I think you just need players who are ready to rotate in so that when you do have those injuries, you aren't relying on those 2nd round picks.
So would you rather,
that can give you both?
Would you rather have a 2nd round corner starting or a veteran free agent corner starting opposite Keyshawn Nixon? Because it's not Carrington Valentine.
Again, it depends on who that veteran corner is. I'd say maybe leaning towards that, but if it's a 2nd round corner, if it's your first pick of the draft, and it's a guy that's a 3rd, 4th year guy who's been in college football, I think I'd rather take a chance and the gamble on that guy to see if he can be a stud versus, again, a 31-year-old Marshawn Lattimore who disappointed in the past season and a half.
715 chiming in on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line asking you how active the Packers need to be in free agency, knowing Goody's track record, and how many starters do they need to add. 715 says the Packers need a vet corner and interior defensive lineman, starter quality free agent. The depth at defensive tackle from a vet would be nice as well. So he says interior offensive lineman and some depth at defensive tackle. I look at that inside of the offensive line. And the more you think about it, the more it makes sense that they just restructure Elton Jenkins and keep him. It just does. Because then Jordan Morgan's at left tackle, left guard is Banks, the center then becomes Jenkins, then right guard is Belton, right tackle is Tom. That's your offensive line. Let's go. Now, Gary Wolfel, who was all over the Bisaccia thing before anybody else going to Clemson, pointed out that at the combine, the Packers were meeting with the agent for Rasheed Walker. They were having conversations. Now, you can say, well, it's what they're supposed to do.
Part of the job, yeah.
Sure, but is it? If I know Jordan Morgan is starting at left tackle, I don't need to meet with Rasheed Walker's agent. I know I'm moving on, and he's my left tackle. I mean, can you imagine the circus that's going to incur if Rasheed Walker is brought back on a deal? I don't care what the deal looks like. If he's brought back at, say, $15 million a year, Jordan Morgan's not starting at left tackle, folks. That is done. Then what? Now you have to figure out, okay, well then where is he playing? Or are you just saying it's over?
So he has to be done if he's not playing at left tackle. Like,
well,
that's
then the other option, well, no, wait, hold on. Then the other option becomes, then he goes to right tackle, and then where does Zach Tom move? Does he go to guard? Be the highest paid center in football and move him to center? That's why I'm saying, like, I don't get it. Like, why are we talking Rasheed Walker's agent for? Why would Rasheed Walker, in not a great left tackle market, why would he take less to come back here and battle for a job against a first-round pick when he can get left tackle money somewhere else and potentially go start? Look at the Texans. They just traded their tackle to Cleveland, and you hear from people in Houston, it's like, same old, here we go again, right? Rasheed Walker may go be the left tackle there. Who knows? Or right tackle for that matter.
He could. But again, teams that are looking for those tackles, like Houston is a squad where consistently the problems on that offense get blamed on the offensive line. You go to Cleveland, it's going to be the same
Cleveland
issue.
Needs a whole new offensive line.
A whole new offensive line with a committal group at quarterback. You don't know who's going to be playing, and even if whoever's out there is not going to be the top tier, you're going to get blamed for a lot if he gets sacked a bunch of times. I think the opportunities that are out there for left tackles right now don't provide the same kind of safety that a team like the Green Bay Packers does.
Correct.
And at the same time, like we were saying before, I think, you have to go through that due process with a guy like Rasheed Walker, who's been your starting left tackle. You can't just say bye to that. Like, that's a position that is of immediate need for any team. If you lose your starter player there, that's something that you have to at least do your due diligence on and say, hey, what are you looking at? What are your other options out there? And see if we can even remotely match that. Doesn't mean he's going to sign there. It just means that you're doing your job.
Correct. Let's talk about our fine folks over there at Prize Picks, baby. Shoot your shot on Prize Picks and use code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks makes every dime, and every board that much more exciting. So don't miss the chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. It's daily fantasy, more or less on 2 or more daily stat projections. Plus, you can stack players as well. What does that mean? That means you can use the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So now that Giannis is back, you can go points, boards, blocks. You can stack them all together. You can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. Plus, of course, you have the flexibility to choose Flex Play, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the Power Play. No matter your play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. We'll do another Prize Picks lineup coming up here before the end of the show if y'all want to play along with us. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code SPARKY, SPARKY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Coming up next, Tim Allen, Tommy Wirtz. They're doing spring training live. Coming up tonight from 5 to 7. They had a chance to interview Brewers reliever Craig Yoho earlier today. You'll hear that straight ahead on Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. C. Sparky Fiver here. Charlie Usen producing the show at the side of the glass. You're going to hear from Craig Yoho, who had a chance to talk with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz, the Brewers reliever, earlier today down in spring training. Speaking of, 5 to 7 o'clock tonight, spring training live, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook with the franchise Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz. You'll hear from Pat Murphy. You'll hear from Jake Bowers. You'll hear from Jacob Mizorowski after his outing today. He did give up a run, had some strikeouts against Great Britain in their exhibition game this afternoon at American Family Fields down in Maryville, Arizona. So keep it tuned here from 5 to 7 each night this week for spring training live. Before we get to that interview with Craig Yoho, got another text coming in on the Packers topic in the last segment. How about Zach Tom being moved to left tackle and Jordan Morgan then plays right tackle? Okay. I'll see what Charlie thinks, but first I'll give you my thoughts. There's no chance that's happening. Just zero. They are all convinced, all of them, I'm pretty sure all of them are convinced that Jordan Morgan's best position is left tackle. That is where they believe he can play the best. They saw some of it in preseason last year. They thought he did more than good enough. Again, it's preseason, but either way. So that's where they believe he's going to play as left tackle. And if that's where he plays for the next 10 years and is a Pro Bowler, despite what's happened the last couple of years, nobody will care or remember about it because they will finally have him home. The only chance he doesn't play left tackle is if they think Rasheed Walker is that guy. But Rasheed Walker did not have a good year last year. He did not. And he's still going to get paid in the open market to go be somebody starting left tackle more than likely. And if it's not left tackle, it'll be right tackle. Either way, they're going to have to pay him a lot of money. And the reason that they're meeting with him, I do not understand. Like, are you having the conversation of, hey, if nobody wants you to start, we'd love to have you back as a swing tackle? My response to that would be a finger on my hand to the Green Bay Packers. And it's not the pointy finger to the Green Bay Packers if they came at me with that. I'm in your starting left tackle, and now you're insulting me by asking me if I want to be a swing tackle? Maybe, but it ain't going to be for this organization. I'm out of here. I don't get it at all, because if you bring him back at starter money, you've created a gigantic mess.
Exactly. Especially since you spent that money on, or not money, but draft pick on Jordan Morgan to be that player.
Yes.
And putting Jordan Morgan at right tackle. And I get where you're coming from a little bit. Yes, he played really well there at the end of the season. He looked like that could be a spot, but I think that was more just to test him at tackle in general, not really even right tackle. And to flip Zach Tom over to left tackle just seems like you're creating, like we were talking about with this Rasheed Walker deal, more of a problem than you
Correct.
need to. Zach Tom's been good at right tackle. Jordan Morgan in that last game of the regular season looked okay at left tackle. Not as good as he did at right tackle, but okay enough. This is something where it seems like you get an easy solution right in front of you. Just go with the easy solution. Don't make it more complicated than you need to.
Charlie Usen over there, Steve Sparky Fiber with you. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Thanks for listening along the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, whether it be on 710 The Game in Duluth Superior or 93.9 The Game in Wausau. How about in Green Bay and Appleton, 99.7 FM, WNFL. I know my guy JB in the 920 has been checking us out while he's been driving around his Lyft fellow people around in his Lyft vehicle. Have you ever taken an Uber or a Lyft in your life?
Yeah, a ton of times.
I don't believe I ever have.
Ever?
Never, ever, not one time. Ever. Never. Ever. Not because I'm against it, just because I've never done it. I just thought of it now when we were talking about it. I was like, I don't believe I've ever done it. But anyways, a lot of people do. And again, it's a great way, especially if you're drinking out at the bars or whatever else. Better to get a ride home than drink and drive, obviously, 1,000%. But we don't really drink anymore, so that's not an issue. So yeah, no, I've never used one.
No, whenever we go down to Milwaukee to have a good time, you take an Uber there, back. You know, when I was down in college, you take Ubers all the time.
Yeah, right. I definitely see it in college. If you're not bringing your car to campus, like that is definitely the way to go.
Even if you bring your car to campus, it's just more fun to Uber sometimes. And then you can walk home too if you live close enough. Oh, that's the best part.
What?
After going to a bar and like you Uber there, but then you walk home or you run home sometimes.
Yeah. I've done a lot of walking home from the bar when I used to hang out with the franchise, Tim Allen, back in the day in Kenosha. He had a bar in his neighborhood, right? And we'd walk there and then walk back.
Yeah,
Yes.
you race your friends sometimes too, you know.
Oh yeah,
Just
you
have
can
a
get
good time.
stupid. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. That's the best part.
As long as you don't get that public intoxication
true.
ticket, you're all set. Okay, so let's hear from Craig Yoho, Brewers reliever, who again had a lot of hype last year coming into the season for his unbelievable changeup that just was unhittable at that point in the minor leagues. Had his chance on the call up and got absolutely rocked when he got to the big leagues last year. Tim Allen, Tommy Wirtz, down there at spring training, had a chance to talk to him earlier, and this is what it sounds like.
American Family Fields of Phoenix, Spring Training Live 2026 with Craig Yoho. Craig, how are you? Everything good?
Oh, yeah, everything's great. Yeah, getting back into it.
Okay, getting back into it. Let's go back to last year. Some success, some not so much. What did you learn from last year?
Honestly, just to trust myself and pitch who I am as a pitcher, not trying to be anybody else than that. And, you know, as long as I get on my own way, I have success.
Yeah, and we all know about the changeup. Everyone really excited to see that last year. You still trying to work that out, or you got some other stuff in the arsenal you're ready, excited to get out on a big league mound?
I mean, yeah, the changeup's always going to be my bread and butter. Kind of everybody knows that, and it's like, you know, as long as I put that in the zone, I'll probably have success. And so I've added a cutter. Not really added. I've thrown it. I'm just increasing the usage of it and getting more comfortable with it. So able to work that in, you know, off of the changeup is a nice add. You know, having something go in the other direction, and then I still have that big slider that, you know, is definitely a big moving pitch. Good swing and miss on that. So just kind of making sure I dial everything in so I have multiple options, multiple tools I can use.
And we heard all about the changeup. When did you start to realize that the changeup was going to be your pitch and your ticket to progressing throughout the minor leagues and, you know, eventually just getting the pro ball? When did you start throwing it where you were like, oh, this thing might be nasty?
Yeah, I mean, my first year pitching was my 5th year, and I threw the changeup, and it was good. It wasn't where it was then, but I was still getting good results on it, and I didn't know anything about what a pitch plot was or anything like that. I was just going out in there and throwing, trying to get, you know, outs. And, you know, it was towards the end of the year where I was like, man, like, I don't know, it seems like no one can hit it. And then, you know, it was good. And then I got into, you know, the Brewers org, and they were like, hey, we want you to throw this as much as you can, basically. And so once I kind of got, you know, that message, it was like, okay, like, you know, let's just do it. Let's just throw it down the middle, basically, and overwhelm the hitters with strikes and see what happens. And that first full season, I kind of just, you know, kept moving on through the org and kept working. So
yeah. And how much does confidence in a specific pitch play a role when you're throwing it out there? Obviously you gotta like it, but when you're feeling yourself and you feel it that day, how much is that, or do you rely on when you're talking about the changeup?
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's a feel pitch, you know, as is every pitch. You know, you got McGill's curveball, you know, his signature pitch. And it's like, you know, when you go out there and you know you have it that day, it's a pretty comforting feeling. And it's just, you got that confidence where it's like, I can throw this any count. So, you know, no matter what, like, I can always go to it. And hitters know that too. Like, they know they have to respect it. And so, you know, when I have that, I know that helps my fastball be better, and then, you know, that helps my cutter be better. So it kind of just sets the baseline for, you know, what I can do out there on the mound and what I can go to.
Are you more of a game plan guy, Craig, where, you know, you work out your game plan, you look at some of the hitters that you probably will be facing in a particular game or series, or are you kind of a Woody guy where Brandon, I mean, he'll read the hitter and that will determine his game plan?
Yeah, I mean, as a reliever, you kind of get those, you know, the next 3 batters type. It's usually the scouting report you get. And so as you're warming up, you're kind of, you know, seeing who's going to come up to bat or whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, for me, it's, you know, fastball, changeup, and mix those in. And, you know, if I get, you know, 2 bad swings on a changeup, you're probably getting a 3rd, and then you might be getting a 4th. And it's like, you might not get a fastball the whole at bat, but it's just kind of, in a way, it's a little combination of both, you know, knowing my strengths, hitters' weaknesses, but also just kind of working through that at bat and seeing what kind of takes I get, what kind of swings I get, you know, oh, hey, he didn't see that cutter, you know, maybe I go back to that later or something like that. So, you know, it's always going to be a combination of both. Some days it might be a little bit more of, hey, you know, I'm going to read the hitter more this day, or, you know, it might be like, you know, I'm going to stick to a game plan today. Like, hey, this team's not good against cutters in on lefties or something like that. So it's always going to be a combination of everything.
I mean, would it be fair to sum up your performance as, you're going to have to get some swing on the change, because if you don't land it, you know, something bad may happen here. Because if they lay off it, I mean, now you're in trouble.
I mean, yeah, the name of the game for all pitchers is pounding the zone. So you get those hitters in swing mode, and then the ball's in your court. You can throw sliders out of the zone. You can throw changeups that bounce on the plate. And so just getting those guys like in a defensive mode is always going to be the key to success as any pitcher. So it's only more evident in me too.
What's some of the mindset this year, having had to take a cup of coffee in the big leagues now, coming into spring? Last year, you're trying to fight your way to get to the major league level. What's like something that you've changed maybe mindset wise from this year to from last year to this year rather?
I mean, honestly, not much. I mean, I'm still fighting every day to, make the team. I think whether I'm in my first year trying to, in spring training and big league camp, or if I'm in my 10th year, it's like you still want to have that same passion, that same fight. So, I mean, I'm still going out there every day trying to win a job, whether that's now or in 10 years. So that same hungry mentality I had in the minor leagues, I'm still going to have now. I've had that in college because, I wasn't necessarily always – I got cut basically twice in college. And so it's like I had that mentality then. I'm not going to lose that now.
But to get your feet wet, as Tommy said, I think it's more than that. And you correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's more than that. The performance on the field is one thing, and that's 90 feet, 60 feet, 6 inches, et cetera. But I think it's the travel. It's man, where do I eat? Where are the Johns around here? All of those things. Where's my hotel key? All of those things. I think that's part of it, and I think that's what fans forget about sometimes, that you guys are human, and that plays a part.
Yeah, definitely. Last year was kind of I guess the best way to put it is like almost like a culture shock, because I got called up on the road, and I had my family with me in Charlotte, and we were there for basically a week. Flew all across country with my wife and my daughter, and then we were there for 4 days, and then St. Louis for another 3, and then Chicago for 4, and then you finally get, I was in Milwaukee for a day, and that still felt like a road.
And that's
road
new
game.
too, right?
That's still, basically a road game. So I spent like 20-something days on the road with my family, and then it's like, okay, I get sent down to Nashville. I got to find housing there, and then it's like, trying to juggle family too, and obviously we have a year-old baby. It's like I want to be around her as much as possible. So it's definitely a lot to juggle. I mean, I'll never, I always say, it's good problems to have. Sure. And so I never lose sight of that, where it's like, yes, it is, kind of a headache at times, but it's because of everything I've, prayed for and gotten. And so all the hard work has come to that, but just trying to balance the family and aspect. And it's, it is a lot of travel. Minor league, you're in somewhere for 6 days at a time. Big leagues, it's 3 days here, and then you're going to another city, 3 days later. So just juggling all that was just like, okay, it's not necessarily what I guess I thought it was, but it was also not as bad as I thought it was. And now going into this next year, I have a plan, basically.
Craig Yoho, I'll leave the bottle of rum joke. Well, you probably heard that a million times.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck. Stay healthy, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There he is, Craig Yoho with the franchise, Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz. And again, you'll hear more of both of those guys, including conversations with Pat Murphy, Jake Bowers, and others coming up tonight from 5 until 7 o'clock. Spring Training Live, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And speaking of the Potawatomi Sportsbook, can you feel it? The thrill of witnessing that walk-off grand slam or a buzzer-beating 3. And Sparky, you know the feeling. There's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration, the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Catch all the action in supreme space. Dozens of sports betting kiosks right there off of the Skywalk at the parking garage. Cool drinks, 48 beers on tap, over a dozen different specialty cocktails, luxury seating 2 levels. And that second level, throughout the course of the week, if you want to rent it out for a business luncheon or something like that, those opportunities, I believe, are there for you. Great food options, a full menu, all-day brunch. You have homemade desserts and pastries to go along with it, fiery atmosphere, and a monster video wall, 2,000 square feet, 30 different sporting events at one time. I always say reserve your seat ahead of time. Nominal fee goes towards your food and beverage costs that day, which you're definitely going to spend money on food and beverage. So really, it all comes back to you. Only at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Best in the Midwest. More info at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up next, Things Sparky Miss, brought to you by the Admirals. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiver with you. Charlie using other side of the glass. Prize Picks, baby. That's what you should do right now. Download the Prize Picks. Use code SPARKY once you download the app and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineups. That's right. $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup by simply using the code SPARKY. Prize Mix makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting. Don't miss the chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. It's daily fantasy, more or less, and 2 or more player stat projections, and you are on your way. Like I've said many, many times before, you've got a significant other not really involved in the sports. I'll watch a game or two with you, but really not into it. And why are you playing fantasy for? Fantasy is so dumb. Why would you do that? Okay, babe, tell you what. Get $5 off the card, and you're going to play with me tonight. You can pick your lineup. Pick it whatever you want. Doesn't matter. And I'm telling you right now, for $5, you can do $5 lineups. Your significant other can pick 11. You can do 11 different lineups. If you do one a week, let's say, guess what? She is going to be in. She is. So all she got to do, you just tell her, play flex play. You get one wrong, you still got a chance to win. She'll hit once, and then she'll be like, I'm better than you are. I think I'm going to start calling into Wisconsin Sports Daily to talk about it. It's really no brainer. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for more details. All right, with that being said, time now to get to this.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
All right, here we go. Let's start off with Team USA playing against the San Francisco Giants in an exhibition game in Scottsdale. If you ever get to spring training, you have to go to that stadium. It's such a cool stadium. The home field for the San Francisco Giants did a nice job with that stadium in Scottsdale. The Team USA is up 15-1 on the San Francisco Giants right now. That game is going to the bottom of the 9th as we sit. Bryce Terang, it's funny. I've had this TV on in studio the entire game. Not one time did I see Bryce Terang come up. And I literally said to Charlie in the last break, it figures. Bryce Terang's the only guy that hasn't played for Team USA. You've got to be kidding me. So when I pull up the box score, he started. He had 3 at-bats. Charlie never saw him. I never saw him. 3 at-bats, 1 for 3 with a run scored for Bryce Terang in this one. Starting for the San Francisco Giants, Adrian Hauser. You remember Adrian Hauser, former Brewer. 3 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, all earned, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Skeens, the Pirates superstar, got the start for Team USA. 3 innings, a hit, a run, an earned run, and 4 strikeouts in his 3 innings of work for Team USA. So things off to a great start. That starting lineup for Team USA, Bobby Witt Jr., Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, Kyle Schwarber, Alex Bregman, he went yard. Cal Raleigh, Roman Anthony in left field, he went yard. Buxton from the Twins, and Terang. Terang batting 9th in that lineup.
All right. That's a fun lineup to watch, first of all. It looks like they're already off to a hot start. That's kind of how you expect this type of game to go.
It's an exhibition game, too.
It's an all-star team versus a spring training team. Like, that's 2 completely different classes of squad right there. It's cool to see them off to this hot start. I saw, like, DraftKings earlier today had Chinese Taipei as the second best team in the World Baseball Classic in their rankings ahead of the USA. I find that hard to believe when you're already off to this, and it's just an exhibition game where these guys probably aren't trying their hardest yet.
For the Brewers, Jared Koenig does not want to see Great Britain ever again.
He struggled.
Got 1 out. 1 out he got. 4 hits, 5 runs, all earned, 2 walks, no strikeouts, and a home run given up.
All right, Jared, that's a little different than going up against Team USA. Yeah, you got Jazz Chisholm. There's other MLB caliber players in that lineup, but mostly minor league guys, mostly guys who are trying to make the minor leagues or make some kind of professional team. That's not the lineup that you're going up against the USA. That's something you got to figure out a little bit. Also, on the other side of things, though, it's spring training. These guys are still trying to get warmed up. We've talked about the pitchers are trying a bunch of new stuff out. You still don't want to see that type of performance happen.
No, you definitely don't. For Team USA, Hamilton with a home run, and that one a solo home run. Badu with a home run in the 7th inning as well in that game. That game just went final. The Brewers lose 7-3 to Great Britain in that one. Other guys that did something. The Brewers only had 5 hits in this game. A hit for Garrett Mitchell, 1 for 3, so that's good. Hit and a run scored, that home run by Badu, that he was 1 for 3. Hamilton with his hit, that was his only hit, that home run that he had. Let's see what else we have here. A hit for Reese McGuire. I hit also for Darian Miller, the Brewers' catching prospect. Also had a hit when he came in after McGuire in that one. And that's it. Those are your 5 hits for the Milwaukee Brewers. Pitching lines, Mizorowski, 2 innings, 2 hits, a run earned, a walk, 5 strikeouts. Aaron Ashby, 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 run not earned with a strikeout. We talk about Canning getting absolutely blown up. And then the other 3 guys, not matters as much. Harrison did get in to pitch, so he does matter, Kyle Harrison, because he might end up being in this rotation. 3 innings, 2 hits, no runs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. That's good if you're a Brewers fan, because I think Kyle Harrison is going to be in this rotation for a good part of this season.
Sounds like he's going to have to be if we're already starting off the season with Brandon Woodruff and Quinn Priest are dealing with slow returns. If that's how we're starting, the luck for this Brewers team. Injuries always take hold in that starting rotation. He'll have to step up.
Spring Training Live with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, comes up from 5 to 7 tonight. They'll be with you. Let's check in on our poll question, Charlie, see where we're at results-wise. Does this go for 24 hours? So what you set it for? Mm-hmm. What's your biggest issue with the MLB heading into the 2026 season? The Athletic did a similar fan survey. Salary disparity, entertainment factor, integrity of the game, pace of play. If you were to pick one, Charlie, which would you pick?
I think my biggest problem right now is probably the salary disparity. Again, I talked about it earlier. Just all the different smaller things that you don't think about it affecting. It affects the way guys are trying to get bigger contracts in the offseason. Like we talked about, that changes the integrity of the game then too. When Jerks and Profar, players like that are doing things in order to get to that point of getting paid like that. If you set this cap, if you set this floor, yes, I know it's not good overall for the players, and that, yes, I'm siding with the owners, which everybody wants to hate that you side with the owners. But at some point here, you do have to even it out for these guys to at least take a chance to breathe and figure out another way to start making that money themselves in the next negotiations.
I also would say integrity of the game would be my thing, just because how much better this team could be if they had another $40 million that they could throw at this. And maybe Mark has $40 million and chooses not to throw it at it. I don't think that's true, but maybe it is. Who knows? That would just make a world of difference to this, as far as being able to keep guys long-term, like Burns or like Woodruff or like Freddie Peralta long-term, and not having that additional money kind of really screws you at the end of the day. What say the poll question?
So if we look at our poll question right now, it is a staggering 94% of the voters choosing salary disparity as the biggest issue, with 5.7 the rest of the voters choosing integrity of the game, pace of play, and the entertainment factor just not being that fun. Both have 0 votes right now. It's only got 35 votes.
I'm telling you right now, there is no point in the players union trying to win over the small market fan base and saying, hey, everything's fine. Don't worry about what the owners are telling you. Don't worry about what they say on TV. Everything is fine. When this CBA expires and we go into the lockout or whatever it's going to be, because technically the CBA expires. I'm not sure if it's a lockout or a strike, but regardless, when they start missing games, the fans are going to be on the player side. You'll have the Dodger fans that will be on the owner side, right? The Mets and the Yankee fans will be on the owner side. But at least half of the fan base of Major League Baseball is going to be on the owner side in this thing.
They kind of have to be. Again, if you want to see the game be played, you're going to have to side with owners a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. No question about it. All right, coming up next, again, Spring Training Live, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, the franchise, Tim Allen, Tommy Wirtz. You'll hear from Pat Murphy. You'll hear from Jake Bowers. I can't wait to hear that interview. It's good to know that Tommy's in the press box and didn't get handcuffed for, doing inappropriate things. So that's positive. So we'll hear from them, plus a bunch of other great guests I'm sure that they have. Again, you'll hear a different Brewer player interview throughout each of the daily shows the rest of the week now. Jet Williams is coming up
on one of the shows tomorrow on Inside Wisconsin Sports. It has Jet Williams, I believe, at 7:45. So tune in for that tomorrow morning with Trevor and Josh. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Have a good night, Wisconsin. Toodles.